What image do you see when I say the word now? Maybe you picture a clock ticking, an email you should have sent, or a deadline coming up faster than you'd like. For me, now came in the middle of the night. A dim blue glow from my laptop screen, an email half written, my cursor blinking like it was daring me to press send. The email was addressed to a UN official I had never met before in my life. I was 17 at the time, no title, no connections. Just an idea that somehow a student from Canberra could convince someone around the world to listen. I pressed send. I'm told all I had to do, what I should have done, was to have just waited for a reply. But what would change if we stopped waiting and treated now as the only acceptable time to begin? If you're under 18 in the crowd, can I see your hand for a second? Don't worry, I'm not going to bite. That's great. Keep it up. Now, keep your hand raised if you consider yourself being actively involved in politics one way or another. And now, take a look around the room again. Imagine for a moment we're not in this theatre with these amazing people and TED speakers. Imagine for a moment we're in a policy-making room, parliament, a boardroom, or a local council meeting. You look around again and you see the exact same thing. The reality is, that's what most policy-making spaces look like. Rooms filled with people making our decisions without the people who will actually live in it. Power is still being concentrated where age and title sit, not where urgency lives. In April of 2021, the Interparliamentary Union, or the IPU for short, released a report. And that report talked about specific interventions to increase the number of young people pursuing politics as a career. They reported that fewer than 1 in 10 young Australians say they trust the government, quote unquote, a great deal. Despite this, 1 in 5 18 to 24-year-olds were dissatisfied with Australia's political processes. It's difficult to look up to politics when the median age for a politician is nearly 50 years old. So here's a broad statement I like to put out there. Young Australians are being alienated. But this is almost intuitive, isn't it? People tend to trust those with more experience, those who have been in the system long enough to know how things work. And in a country with compulsory voting, you're either too young to vote or suddenly expected to make informed decisions the second you turn 18, with no real bridge in between. You can't expect a 13-year-old to get excited about policy reforms or multilateral trade deals. But what if we taught them that politics isn't just a career, but something that all of you, our parents, our teachers, our educators, our mentors, our students, and our youth can all contribute to? I think there are a few broad understandings about politics that we need to change. First, we've mistaken political education for simply awareness or memorization within schools. Students in primary schools, for example, are required to know the names of prime ministers or the 3 levels of government. Politics isn't presented as something tangible that we can all contribute to. Additionally, there's a communication gap, a format mismatch. We're growing up in a world surrounded by short-form videos, visual storytelling, and rapid engagement. We expect clarity. Yet politics remains rooted in its traditional forms: press conferences, jargon-filled reports, and inaccessible language. So in their place, we've built our own forms of political participation. We take to Instagram and TikTok to share lived experiences. We use WhatsApp group chats all the time. We make Canva infographics and live stream speeches. We don't wait for permission to speak. We act because the urgency we feel doesn't come from what we read in a textbook. Lastly, I think there's something intrinsic in all of us that's holding us back. And I think that thing is fear. Fear that if we genuinely empower young people, we will have to confront uncomfortable truths about the systems that we rely on. But more often, I think it is also inertia. The comfort of habit, the safety of tradition, the phrase, "this is how it has always been done." And this is where we need to be bold, with creating a future that starts with young people. It might look like youth-led coalitions, where young people have more of a choice and more of a role to play alongside policy experts. It might look like rethinking the voting age. It might look like parliaments hiring youth strategists the same way they hire media advisors. It requires us to reframe what we mean when we talk about politics. Because politics isn't just what happens in Parliament. It happens in the comment section of a viral video. It happens in the walkout, led by Year 10 high school students in Canberra. It happens when a group of friends decide that waiting is not good enough and decide to build their own solution. If we only look for political engagement in formal institutions, we miss all the places where it's already happening. So what's the alternative? What does a democracy that truly represents its young people actually look like? For me, it starts in schools. I believe every student should finish high school having done more than memorize how a bill becomes a piece of legislation. They should have written a speech, run a campaign, organized a meeting with the local MP. Because when we treat young people as capable political agents, it opens the door to incredible innovation. I've seen students advise the writing of legislation for mental health reform. I've seen peers who have run campaigns. I've seen youth coalitions advocate for climate justice, oftentimes more effectively than elected officials. And no, before everyone freaks out and panics, decentralization of power does not equal anarchy. Rather, we build practices that decentralize power and invite action at the smallest possible unit. If metaphorically, you were still raising your hand in your mind from before, keep it there for one more second. Every raised hand is a claim. Every claim is a reimagination of who holds the power. The urgency of now tells us to take action. Use it. Use it to move past your fears, to commit to opening more doors, to hear the voices of youth and truly participate in what unfolds as a coalition of empowerment. We collectively can be the change makers of today, of now. These actions, these claims of urgency, takes a reimagination of who holds the power, claims it as our own, and reshapes the future for all.